Let us continue on understanding the basic facts of using the 110th units column in the counting board. When you add a ball in the unit column, it represents 1. When you add 2, it represents 2. When you add 3, it represents 3, the number 3. When you add 4, it represents 4. Likewise, when you add 5, it represents 5. If you add 6, it represents 6. When you add 7, it represents 7. When you add 8, it represents 8. And when you add 9, it represents 9. The unit column can only take up 9 balls. 9 balls can only be contained in the unit column. Then when we come to the 10th column, which is here, each ball that you place in the 10 columns represents 10. If you add 2 balls, it represents 20. When you add the third ball, it represents 30. If you add 4 balls, you're talking about 40. Then when you add 5 balls, you're talking about 50. The same thing goes with 6 balls, which represents 60, 7 balls, which represent 70, 80 balls, which represent 80, and 9 balls, which represent 90. It cannot take beyond 9 balls. Okay? Then the same thing goes with the hundreds column. When you add a single ball, it represents 100. When you add 2 balls, it represents 200. When you add 3 balls, it represents 300. Same thing, 4 balls represent 400. 5 balls represent 500. 6 balls represent 600. 7 ball represent 700. 8 ball represent 800. And 9 balls represent 900. The same thing goes on when you extend the column to thousands. A ball in the thousandth column represents 1000. The second ball represents 2000. The third ball represents 3000. When you add 4 balls all together in the thousandth column represent 4000. Then 5 balls represent 5000. Same thing goes on and on. 6 balls 6000, 7 balls 7000, 8 balls 8000, 9 balls 9000. It cannot contain more than 9 balls. That is the basic fact you need to understand when it comes to using the columns in the counting ball. The unit column can only contain 9 balls. So what happens if we are to have additions like 6 plus 6? Okay, if we are to add this 6 plus 6 ball in the unit column, what happens? This is what happens. Let's add the first ball, the first 6 ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, the second 6 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember I told you that the unit column does not contain more than 9 balls. So what happens? You count out. This is more than right now I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 balls. So how do we represent that in the unit column? Now we have 12 balls. So what happens is this: you count 10 balls out, because 10 balls, remember, we count 10 balls, that is 6. We had 3. Okay. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are to count out these 10 balls. These 10 balls we go over to the 10th unit. It goes over to the 10th unit. Comes over here. That's the 10th. Okay. So remaining 2 balls left here. So what happens is this: when you're using the column, the 2 balls comes down. Now we have 1 ball in the 10 columns, and when we have 1 ball in the 10 columns, then we have 10. Okay, so we have read 1. So 6 plus 6 gives us 12. Let's try another example so that you can understand more. When balls goes beyond 10 in a unit column. Let me draw another. I want to draw it fast, so don't mind. I'm drawing it fast, don't mind my lines. It may not be as perfect. 100 tenths a unit. To add up another number, say 7 plus 3. Okay, let's place the balls in the unit column. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the remaining 3, let's add up the 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. Let's count the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 numbers. When the rule is this: when we have 10 numbers, it cannot be contained in the unit column. So what happens then is this: we count the numbers, the 10 balls. Since the whole of this, we take it up as we did earlier on to represent it in the 10 columns. We represent it in the 10 columns by just a single ball. Okay, so at the bottom of the unit column, we have, you can see in the unit column we have no balls. Why? In the 10 columns we have just 1 ball. So the answer now becomes 1, 0. That's 10. Right? Let's do another example on understanding this fact. Okay, draw another column. That is okay. We have the unit column, we have the 10th column, and we have the 100th column. This time around, let's add up 6 plus 5. Okay, 6 plus 5. Let's represent it in the unit column. 6 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the remaining 5 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's count the whole of the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 balls in here, and we can only have numbers balls, we cannot have more than 9 balls in the unit column. So what do? We count up 10 numbers. We're going to leave that one out because we have 11. So we move this to the 10th column. Okay, so in here we have, in the unit column we have 1 ball, in the 10th column we have 1 ball. So 6 plus 5 gives you 11. I think with this basic understanding that the unit column can only contain 9 balls, when it becomes 10 balls, we move the whole of that ball in here to the 10 columns, which in the 10 balls, 10, the number 10 represents a single ball in the 10 columns represent 10 balls. So what does that makes us to understand? Okay, let me explain further. I still want to explain further so that you understand this basic rule, because understanding of this basic rule gives you a chance to be able to solve numbers beyond additions beyond the unit numbers. So you'll be able to do additions. Once you understand this, you'll be able to do additions in unit, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. Okay, so that's why I want to take my time to explain this to you clearly. So when you have 10 balls, when you have 9 balls in here, in the unit column the unit column can only contain numbers of balls. Balls in here are represented only with